I the only one surprised that women are saying don't shoot your shot at anime conventions?
Is it wrong to pick up women at an anime convention? That was joke number one. I will have one more joke in this video, and the rest I will be fairly serious about. Joke number two is, dang, I'm talking about respecting women 2 days in a row. I should sign up for a performative man competition. And the crowd is like, RJ, stop that. Anyway, for real, this is a conversation that I was thinking about talking about for a while. And I kind of was like, I don't know if I want to, but my friends kind of encouraged me to give my take because they're like, yeah, RJ, we actually think more men need to hear you talk about dating and women and your experiences. So here's a little bit of RJ lore and my nuanced opinion on approaching women at anime conventions. I don't like the term picking up necessarily because it has such a connotation. Hitting on has a connotation. Let's talk about approaching and talking to women and I guess initiating further things, which is a wide variety of options. I think oftentimes this conversation gets split into two sides, which is really kind of silly. The first one is like, oh my gosh, anime conventions are the perfect place to find a date. If you're just going to a convention to meet women, you're weird. You're a creep. Everyone's going to boo you. Boo! But on the flip side, if you are going to a place with adults, consenting adults, and you don't think that sex happens, you don't think that like flirting happens, you don't think that people can potentially find a partner, you don't think that adult things happen, you need to grow up a bit because that's kind of naive. Hey, you got to grow up. For the record, I'm not just talking about having sex. I was just kind of giving extreme differences. Also, I should say I'm going to keep this conversation fairly heteronormative for simplicity's sake. So if you're like, RJ, your response is a bit limited, it's that way on purpose. I'm 32. I'm a grown adult. And despite making anime content, right? And as I've gotten older, one thing I really started to focus on is discernment. I care less about if something is right or wrong and more about if that's what people want. I care less about if it is right or wrong to approach women at a convention or more about if both parties want this thing or don't want this thing. So I navigate that and I suggest you navigate that by thinking about two things. Number one, reminding yourself that you don't know anything about these people at all. Be aware of your own limitations and knowledge. So when you approach people, you don't know if they're single or not. You don't know their ethnicity, their sexual orientation, their gender, if they're overstimulated. You don't know anything. You're there to have a conversation and get more information. Unless you're blessed enough to be super conventionally attractive, I promise you, you cannot just skip the conversation phase. You cannot just skip the somewhat getting to know someone phase. Even then, that's not a guarantee. So most people, I'm talking to you, are gonna have to, unfortunately, that's very sarcastic, get to know people, initiate, learn more about them. Keep that in mind. Don't just be selfish. And then similarly, the second thing you should focus on is empathy. And I want to define this because people think that empathy is like sympathy, just feeling sorry for people. No, empathy is understanding why people do the things they do, think the way they do, say the things they do. So again, this is not a selfish act. Approaching women requires being able to understand your status, how you present, how they're presenting, their verbal cues, their physical cues, understanding how environment can change conversations. For example, speaking to someone while they're in cosplay, overstimulated at a convention, surrounded by thousands of people, might be a different ball game than talking to someone, again, it could be overstimulating, but at a party with like 1,000 people where we're all kind of relaxed and having a good time. Again, that can drastically change how the conversation goes. Because the truth of the matter is there's going to be women who would enjoy finding someone at an anime convention. There's going to be women who would dislike it. You cannot predict that. You have to find that information out. So I suppose my nuanced take is that it's fine to approach women and be open to whatever happens, whatever you're looking for at a convention. But I think you should figure out why you're at that convention. You should have some sort of genuine reason to be there because people are looking for genuine people. It's the same as like, because we're talking about convention, but it's really any other location, any other event that you're going to. You should always have some sort of actual reason to be there, and then you understand that's how you meet people. When you talk to your friends and ask them how you met people, oftentimes they were not looking for someone specifically. They were there for a reason, and then they connected with someone, and then that connection led to something further. Just because it's an anime convention doesn't mean that general pattern isn't relevant. Side note, don't debate women. Don't debate me either. Don't debate men. It's annoying. I'm not gonna lie. It's really annoying when people who especially know less than you debate you about things. These women that you're debating know a lot about the things they're cosplaying. You might think that some women are performative, which again, some are. It's a range. There's always a spectrum. But they're not here to debate. Debating takes consent. Debating is not even about hearing each other out necessarily. It's about one-upping each other. Have conversations. Sure, you can have nuanced conversations. But debating women is not hot. This creator, I will really push back on this one thing. He mentioned that you want to debate a woman because if she can hold her own, that's how you know she's the one. Hard disagree. Have conversations. Don't debate. By the way, I have not planned this video. That's why it's all over the place. Bear with me. But I do want to mention that like talking to women is actually fairly easy. I talk to a lot of women. I work with a lot of women because I just talk to them as if they're people. And that's like, I know it's not revolutionary, but to a lot of people it is. Talk to women like you talk to most people, and I can almost guarantee you will spark a connection or, have a decent conversation. And then from there, you can start to figure out the next steps. Yeah, but RJ, you're a popular content creator and people know you and like you. To get kind of personal for a bit, it wasn't always like that. I grew up in a kind of racist town. I know people from back home are probably watching this video like, we're not racist. You are. I grew up where basically all my friends dated people and I was just kind of the odd man out. Nobody found me, well, a lot of people didn't find me attractive nor desirable. I was also socially awkward and never really expressed my own opinion. And also, in a way to make myself not stand out, I often tried to exclude myself and try to make myself seem very minimal, which just made me stand out more and be more awkward. So keep that in mind. So I've been there. I know what it's like, but I've also, yes, been on the side where it's like I get thirst comments in my videos. I have people DM me. For the first time ever at Anime NYC 2023, like a woman just straight up approached me, well, I believe it was a woman, and told me I was beautiful. Like I've never had just a random person, almost never, randomly approach me and compliment me. First time I ever had a woman buy me a drink. Like I was 30 years old, experienced this for the first time ever. So again, I have experience on being on the whole like not popular, not easily approachable side. So I know that like men, you just gotta get it together. We're in the anime community, right? We're a spectrum, but also some of the stigmas about social awkwardness are true. Like obviously not for everyone, but that's one thing you should work on because being awkward can come off as being creepy. Being unaware of what to say and saying the wrong things can come off as being creepy. So when you are able to feel confident in yourself, when you're able to speak a bit more eloquently, when you're able to bring something to the conversation that will make you seem less creepy, more desirable, or more respectable, more desirable. And the hard truth is that this takes time and work. Because again, is my video going? It is. Because again, I was not always just like a popular content creator. And even the past 3 years, or past 2 years since my last anime convention, I have been actively working on my social anxiety. I've been actively working on how to hold a conversation. I've been actively working on reading people's social cues, trying to figure out when they're awkward, trying to figure out when I'm awkward. And I straight up, just like a few weeks ago, I was telling a friend I was nervous about this convention because I have a feeling like people are going to want to speak to me and approach me, and I want to speak to them, but I'm just nervous on the inside. I'm still an introvert. I'm still neurodivergent. But they gave me a few tips, some advice, and I found myself being very sociable this weekend. So even if you saw me being sociable, on the inside I was having all these conversations, trying to figure out like, how to speak and stuff. But it takes practice, it takes time. It's intentional. I was talking way too slowly, giving way too many details, so I'm running out of time, so let me try and wrap this up in 1 minute. Consent is key, always. Consent can be taken away at any time, always. Most women do not want to be objectified. If they do, they will give you consent because that is a side of like sexual deviancy, and they're usually aware that it takes consent and like initiation to show someone that. So if you're like wondering, oh my gosh, should I like objectify women? Don't, unless they give you consent to. And again, be very aware of your social status, your standing, your influence, if you have any. If not, still be aware. Because there are plenty of times this weekend I was like, wow, this person's really pretty. Wow, this person's really interesting. And I hesitated. That's something I gotta work on, right? That's my problem. That's nobody else's problem. That's my problem. Because as a content creator, a quote-unquote larger content creator, I am aware of just like, I could influence someone. Someone could feel a pressure or whatever. So even just that, I keep in mind. I keep in mind that I'm a man speaking to a woman, the social dynamics. I keep in mind my race. Don't be a creep.